Hello everybody, welcome into the kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you a really quick recipe, something super simple, super tasty. I am making shortbread, but because it's, the way I do things, I'm not exactly going to follow the recipe here. I'm going to be switching things up a little bit and trying something new like I always do, because I've got that almond butter that I made and it's got that little bit of rum in it, and today is Shocks's Friday, so I thought it'd be nice to make a nice little tasty treat. Let's get started. Okay, so your basic shortbread recipe is insanely simple. Just all-purpose flour, sugar, and margarine in my case, but it's always better with butter. Trust me on this one. As with most baking, it's always better with real butter, but we have margarine. Now this recipe calls for 2.5 cups of flour, 6 tablespoons of sugar, and a cup of butter. But what I'm doing, because I've got the almond butter here, is I'm going a little bit shy on the butter and a little bit shy on the sugar, and I'm just going to top it up with this. So let's get started. So in a fairly decent sized bowl, we're just going to combine our flour. Now you can sift this if you want, but I'm not taking the time. And our sugar. And I'm just going to give that a quick mix before I get to adding other stuff in there. Seriously, aside from maybe biscuits, I think shortbread's probably the easiest thing in the world. Alright. Now, just going to add in our margarine here in place of butter. Like I said, that is a little bit less than what I need, same with the sugar, because I am going to top that up with the almond butter. The proper recipe will be down in the doobly-doo below. This smells so fantastic. So, I'm just going to guesstimate here. Nice crummy texture on that. And I'll put in about that much. You know what? I'll put in about that much. And I'll adjust this as necessary. In my experience with making shortbread in the past, I think the most important bit is just to make sure that you mix this in only until you get kind of a, I don't know, breadcrumby almost texture. Kind of like the almond butter looked like, really. And again, with most things, I like to use a fork. I find it slices through the margarine or the butter quite well and helps to make a sort of a flaky texture. So I'm just going to do this for a couple of minutes and get back to you when we're ready for the next stage. So here we are. This is just about ready. A little bit more mixing around and this will be able to form nicely into a ball, at which point I can start kneading it, and we'll cut back with the camera. So because of our very limited counter space here, my solution to kneading this out is just to work it in the bowl. And yes, I realize that I have flakes falling off of this, but this is how I like to do mine. If you want it all compacted together, that's yours. But this is better in the kitchen, isn't it? So that is just about ready, in my opinion, to go onto the cookie sheet, or in my case, cake pan. So I'm just going to use this 9-inch round cake pan because that's what fits into our toaster oven. And we will transfer in this shortbread and pat it into place. You know, as I'm patting this down, I can't help but wonder if this is what it's going to be like to work the Adobe when we finally get to building. A lot of people prefer a nice smooth surface. I don't. I like irregular surfaces, a little bit more of a natural feel to it. Alright, now, once I'm happy with that, it needs to go into my toaster oven at 325. Alright, well, according to the microwave, it's only 11:16, so I guess I need to wait a few hours for this. Oh, what the heck, let's do it anyway. So once your oven is nicely warmed up, you're just going to want to put that in there, like I said, at 325. And traditionally that would bake for 25 to 30 minutes, but we're going to check back on it every 10 minutes or so because this is a little thicker than normally I would make it. And with the almond and the rum, I'm just not quite sure how that's going to work out. So normally you'll check the bottom of this thing after about 20-25 minutes, and what you're looking for is a light golden brown. The middle of it should have set and become a little bit more firm than when you put it in, obviously. And like I said, the bottom should just be turning brown. Now, I'm telling you this instead of showing you because I have no idea, like I said, how this is going to work out having added the almond butter in there and messing with the basic recipe. The basic recipe does work, I promise, regardless of how this turns out. The basic recipe down below does work. Alright, we'll check back in a few minutes. Alright, now I forgot to mention before, but it's a good idea when you're doing them in something like a cake pan, just to take the time and score them where you want to be able to cut them. And I like to do this a couple times throughout the cooking process. I don't know if it helps or not, it's just something I like to do. But here we are at just about 15 minutes, and this is starting to get a little firmer, but it's nowhere near cooked yet. So, back into the oven for another, see, like I said, about 15 minutes. So I'm going to put that back in there for another 10, and we will check on it again. So here we are after 25 minutes. Now, with a normal thickness of shortbread cookie, this would be done. But this is a massive thickness cookie, and it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it again with my mini pizza cutter and put it back in the oven. But as you can see from how far that goes in, this is way deeper than your average shortbread cookie. Okay, so it's been yet another 10 minutes and this monster shortbread cookie can come out of the oven. As I poke that, I can see that it's definitely firmed up a little bit. Not rock hard, but I don't really want a rock hard bake on this. So now, it's going to finish off with a little bit of heat that it's got just from cooking in general. And then I get to try some. Yum, yum, yum. So now that this has cooled a little bit, or a lot actually, seems to be in good shape, I'm going to finish it off with something traditionally quite Canadian, a little bit of maple syrup drizzled on there, because it can't be too sweet, nor can it be too sticky. Alright, and that is that. Well, alright everybody, as much as I would love to wait for Shocks to get home so she can have the first taste of this, they tell me a good cook never lets anything go out unsampled, so here we go to food videos on YouTube and munching on camera. Alright everybody, I think that is without a doubt the most fabulous thing I have made without hot peppers in a really long time. So, I'm going to finish that off and clean up the kitchen so that the fresh baked goods are a surprise and I don't have telltale dishes all over my sink. Thanks for watching everybody. Give this a try at home and when you do, comment down below. Let me know how it works out. Alright, have fun everybody. Go play in the kitchen.